So It Found Us does have a fantastically creepy cover. What Give us the elevator pitch. What does esteemed audience need to know about It Found Us so they could be pre-ordering their copy right now?
Oh my goodness, I am so excited for this book. So It Found Us to me is most like Scritch Scratch in terms of fear factor, maybe a little scarier than Scritch Scratch, but also a very strong historical element. Does not take place in Chicago, but takes place in the Chicago suburbs. And I did a bunch of research for this one that was very scary, very eerie. It follows the story of my main character, Hazel, who considers herself an amateur detective. And Hazel is very much who I think young Lindsay kind of was in a lot of ways. I always wanted to be wrapped up in some mystery, and there just were no mysteries to be had in my tiny little farming community. So I'm like living vicariously through Hazel. But Hazel, unfortunately, her family really, they're always poo-pooing her sleuthing. They call it snooping, and they're always telling her, please let other people deal with their problems. Don't always insert yourself. Yes, you have a gift, but you have to learn how to use it, right? Like don't meddle, you meddling kids, that kind of thing. And it's very hurtful to Hazel. And one night she's got this dream of launching this podcast, actually, where she kind of like a true crime podcast, but for younger listeners, where she solves mysteries through this podcast. And she hears or overhears her brother planning to sneak into the local graveyard at night for a game of hide and seek, which, what a terrible idea. So she's very intrigued. Everyone in their town knows the stories of that graveyard, that it's haunted. People generally try to avoid it. But in Hazel's mind, this could be a good opportunity because maybe she will see or hear something that will be amazing for this first episode of her podcast, which, by the way, she doesn't even have permission to do yet. Okay. She's just planning. She's a planner. So she sneaks out of the house and follows him. And during this game of hide and seek, her brother Den is the seeker. Everybody runs off. He finds all but one, and that one never comes back. Everett Michaels, his best friend, seemingly vanishes into thin air during this game of hide and go seek. A terrible storm comes in. There's howling, there's scary sounds, eerie, ghostly sounds. Everyone flees. And unfortunately, by the next morning, Everett is still nowhere to be found. And Hazel is officially on the case because she believes that the adults and the police are overlooking potentially the real reason that Everett is missing. And spoiler, there's ghosts. So I'm really, really excited about that book. It was fun to write. I think it's very scary. I think the cover is a perfect representation of the book. I've never seen a cover that I have loved more so instantaneously. It's wonderful.
Well, I hope that Hazel is recording for the podcast immediately upon those events happening. Just speaking as a fellow podcaster, I'm sorry all that's happening, but by God, get it on tape.
Listen, make sure it's going. There are pieces of it that she has. She does start the second she gets in there, but there's a bit of a starting and stopping. So, oh my goodness, I can't wait for you, especially since you are such an avid podcaster. I can't wait for you to read it because it was a really fun book, a scary book to write. I mean, I recorded a video for people at Source Books about it. And I said, genuinely and honestly, I still get chills when I think about some of the scenes in the book.